Hello everyone, this is episode 5 of the Fooly Cooly Premiere Countdown Pillows Discography Podcast Deluxe, Extra Deluxe, Hospitality, Reloaded, and Knuckles a la mode. And this album is the best album in any episode that we've ever done so far. I'm here with Shem and George, but they decided to be very quiet.
We wanted you to,
We thought you were just still doing the bit.
Yeah.
It's the intro bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. Now we're here.
On Please Listen, Mr.Lostman.
Please, Mr.Lostman.
Great album. Great album cover art.
Oh, yes.
The
Wonderful album art.
Is a classic. Look at that.
It's amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah.
We should just hop right into it
Yeah.
with Stalker.
Stalker's one of their best songs. I don't even care. We could stop. We could not listen to the other
Just that.
16
Yeah,
albums.
because just heavy bass, drums, clear-cut power chords you got going on.
It's good.
Just a straight banger.
Yeah.
It's just a straight banger.
It's great.
And that's why it ends up on Fooly Cooly, even though most of the songs are from the next two albums.
Right.
And it's like a concept song.
Yes.
Like it's like a Stalker. Like it's straightforward, but in the band's
Who has
history
this
at this
creepy
point,
angel talking to him the whole
Right.
time. It's so good.
But at this point in their thing, like we haven't seen a thing like this since the one referencing the movie. And everything before. So it's very refreshing that it's not a love song, a breakup song, a nostalgia song, or a dream song.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's an I Want to Be Sullivan song. And
I want to be Sullivan.
And that's where we are now.
Yep.
Stalker is just perfect, and the way it gets used really well in Fooly Cooly, but we'll talk about that much farther down the line. But just as a song itself, to me, it shows you, like, I can only imagine listening to this album when it first came out and kind of knowing who they are beforehand, because this is like, okay, we're here now. Like, we understand.
We're established.
Yeah, exactly. They're established, and they know exactly what to be doing. I don't even know. There's not even too much to say about Stalker without getting into some Fooly Cooly stuff. It's an angel talking to this stalker guy. Like, the whole song is like, he's just this. He just explains that he's this creepy stalker, and he does some really weird things. But it's all because someone's telling him like do this. It'll make you happy. Like, it's this. Yeah, it's unnerving but amazing.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
And some of the old, so it still has elements of the dreamy style, but it's used for contrast because it's only used when the angel is talking.
Yeah.
Which is really great. It's just, again, showing that, like, they learn their musical tricks, and now they know, like when they realized that they only needed to use reverb when it was appropriate, they also can now understand that things are a little more surgical. Like, they know how to do the pieces only when they need to, and can integrate it into a piece like this.
Yeah. It's just it's so good. Okay. Without getting into parts of it that will fit more into, as we go on and talking about Fooly Cooly, if you need to remember where this song comes in, you'll remember it as the song in episode 2 that's playing when you have no clue what is going on at all. When there's just all kinds of shit on the screen, and Naota's just giving a soliloquy about what Mamimi's video game is. That is where the song comes in, and it's intense. And then it fades out into her boombox. That's all I'm going to say. What's the next track?
Trip Dancer.
Trip Dancer, so good. What I got out of it, even if I pursue this dream, will anything change? Probably not, but I'm still going to do it because I have things that I want to accomplish. Trip Dancer.
Word.
No, absolutely though.
Yeah.
That's why like this album hits so hard, because it comes in with Stalker, and then Trip Dancer starts, and
which is a good contrast. Because
exactly.
I thought like it just brings it down to a more somber note. And I just thought that also the vocals sit very well with the rest of the song. You know, as like George was saying in the past couple episodes, when like the singer, a lot of times he was either overshooting or undershooting. Now, like, he's really finding the sweet spot.
I noted that he is starting to have Pillow's voice.
Yeah.
Yes.
In this song.
This is the dawn of the Sawao Pillow's voice. Absolutely.
So that was my big takeaway on this, because I didn't super love this one, but I definitely appreciated that it still had an edge, because as opposed to things that I wasn't super about on the last album, this one was still like cool and had an idea and had a musical sound to it, and wasn't it just something that would fade into the background.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's all I've got about that one.
Trip Dancer. I mean, you know, it's good. It wasn't as thought provoking as Moon Is Mine. I thought Moon Is Mine was a little more like, this is really cool. Like, it was this. It took me a long time to realize, like, this is just like a Night Owl song. Like, I'm just up all night, and no one can tell me otherwise. Like that, I can relate. I mean, with Moon Is Mine, I didn't fully know what to make of it at first, because it doesn't leave that much of an impression compared to everything else that like comes in with this album.
I mean, the intro of the song is like vastly different from the rest of it, because it's just very like bassy drum fills at the very beginning by itself, and then it just goes into the rest of the song. So like, you know, the first like 20 seconds you really don't know which direction the song's going to go until the rest of the song comes. That's what with doing all listening to these albums, like, I always feel like if they're starting a song off with like one instrument or two, you have you know, your footing's not completely secure, because you don't know which direction the rest of the song's going to go in. So
yeah. I really like the beginning. I really like the beginning of it with the drums. This is another one that kind of washed over me. I took note again of the fact that there's like actual echo in this one instead of just really high reverb that makes it sound like everything's echoey, and thought that was pretty cool. But this one overall just kind of went over me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What did you think of Ice Pick?
So I basically Ice Pick is something that, like, I thought the lyrics were cool. I thought that the 2-line chorus was really cool.
Yeah, I said nice harmonies.
The overall vibe of Ice Pick didn't like mesh with me the most, and I also think that there might have been because music being super subjective and the experience of it, I very much might have just not been in the headspace for this album, I think, because some of these ones just didn't do it for me, but I still think about the song, so I think it would be interesting on another listen. I did specifically write down to remember the line, at least from the translation that we had, "I'll never show my real face to anyone. I have an ice pick that crushes plastic tears."
Yeah.
I thought that was a great image. I really liked that.
I thought it was too short. I felt like it could have gone on for like maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds more. Like a couple more bars. Because like, I just feel like at the very end, like you're like finally getting into it and grooving, and then it stops.
Oh yeah.
And you're just like, oh, alright. I guess we're here now.
Yeah, I felt that too, just because I was liking where it was going. So I did want it to continue, but at the same time, I think they really... They saved their longer songs, I think, for slightly more important ones. But that's just in my opinion. Yeah, those two lines are probably the most powerful part of the song. It just really felt with, like... The vibe I got was sort of, like... Even if I am kind of separated from everyone, or if I am this sort of, like... I don't want to say pariah, that's a little bit too far. But if I really am this, like, different sort of weirdo, then I'm kind of okay with that. Like, I'm not gonna like see through your like pity, because you shouldn't be pitying my like lifestyle basically. So it was pretty cool. As I continue, I'm starting to realize that these lyrics are a little bit more general. Like like you can kind of tack on a lot of different things to what we're reading into here, but interpretations. Today she... What? What did she do?
She did a lot. That's what I'll say. She did a whole lot. I thought that the beginning of this had a very strong Plum Tree vibe, which, if you don't know the band, they have the song Scott Pilgrim.
Oh right, it's this band.
Yeah, it's this band.
Yeah.
So that's what I immediately got like the first 30 seconds in. I did think that the drums might have been a bit too bassy for the song. It seemed like sometimes it just kind of counteracted the rest of the flow of the song. But the acoustic breakdown was really nice. Dynamics, it's a nice thing to use. You either start soft and then you go high, or you start off high and then you go soft, and get that wave going. Dynamics, trademark. And I just thought the guitar solo was perfect because it transitions back into the rest of the song, as well as the fade out. So
yeah, I like the fade out because the last the ending has a little bit of added flourish and then fades out, which I thought was a good pairing with the final lyric, which is the name of the song. And right. Today she. That's basically what the song does to you, because it just fades out, and it doesn't do that lyrically because that would be lame and stupid. You all just heard me do it, but it does it musically, which makes it seem a lot more, a lot better, like an artistic statement or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it had a lot of togetherness that their other love songs have not had. You know what I mean? But of course, their other love songs are a lot more nostalgic. Maybe this happened more in the past. This is kind of something that's happening today. It's not exactly where I was going with that, but yeah, essentially this is something that's more palpable. I'm able to understand you're really feeling this way about this person right now, and I agree with what you said about the guitar solo too, because it transitions back into the song. To me, that actually it aurally illustrates what the song is trying to do. So that was really cool, because I always think about a tunnel is a transition itself as well. So it's you're looking through the tunnel and then the tunnel happens. Yeah, that was really cool. The song was cool, but it's really hard to get cooler than Strange Chameleon. Yeah, Strange Chameleon was great. I thought it was musically more musically more interesting than what had been going on. I loved the lyrics. I loved that it's another Strains of Love, Strains of World Sucks song, but centered around the idea of you die if you don't adapt, but he's a strange chameleon, and that's kind of his fate, is that he can't change color. So does that mean he's gonna fall to the wayside? Does that mean he's gonna die in this world of regular chameleons? Probably, but he is in fact a strange chameleon. Yeah. So. And he seems to be all about it. It felt like this very singular, I don't know that I can adapt fully, but I absolutely love you, and that's pretty much all I can do. And it's hey, there you go. And you and just the whole outro, just the really pulling at you as he's just singing it away. This is one of those fade outs where
it was definitely a strong finish.
Yeah. It was just...
Yeah, and the vocals just, had a tangible bounce to it.
Right.
Yeah, I'll have something to say about this more when we get to the end of the episode, though. So.
Okay. You're saving some stuff. I understand. Yeah, Strange Chameleon was actually a huge hit when it came out. It ended up having... I mean, I know there's a music video that doesn't actually mean much. It was a huge hit, though. There's a lot of... I'm pretty sure it had a single as well that sold a lot of copies before the album even came out. But don't quote me on that. And if you do, you might be wrong.
You're liable. You slander.
Yeah. But what about Swanky Street?
I thought it was cool because a new effect has emerged out of nowhere. They put a phaser effect on the guitar track, so I always get excited when, again, this band starts experimenting and trying new things out. I thought that using the phaser added a nice pulse to the song that kind of like underlaid the entire track. And you were also getting kind of bits and pieces of a different cue of a guitar solo, which is the very kind of like unstable, this can go off the rails in any second, like the guitar could just completely untune, which I'm a big fan of. Just nice use of the slide guitar at the end.
Yeah, I thought the solo rips on this one.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. There's also that like landing noise style like stuttering. Like there's after the solo, there's the bit of like musical stutter that goes on there, which I thought was really interesting. Also, in the lyrics of this one, he says that he doesn't care what color the lights are, which is a reference to the fact that in another song on an earlier album, all of the lights in his heart are, all the stoplights in his heart are yellow.
Yeah.
So I really dug that. I absolutely love textual references within a band's work.
Yeah.
It's just a really cool thing for someone who's been there.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Especially because in the next song, you almost get a direct answer to Swanky Street, because when you read when you're listening to both of those songs, like at least for me, I thought like Swanky Street should probably be named Suicide Driving, just because of the entire thing. So if you sort of take that as well, then it's sort of not a sequel to it, but to me it was sort of like Suicide Driving being sort of like, okay, past me, like, you know, don't give up, because like, you know, we're gonna like believe in the future you, essentially, is what it was trying to say, which I thought was really cool. Especially since Swanky Street is more about just sort of like knowing the outside interpretation of you, and living into it, whether or not that's healthy, but just sort of being like, so you think I am this way, you just want to like box me in, then I will shut myself out. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was kind of on a low point, but it was definitely hard hitting. What else about Suicide Driving?
I thought that, I don't know, with the title, and again, my analysis of these albums, I'm doing just strictly by the composition. So of matching the title and then just going right into the composition, it just seemed very juxtaposed, which I guess maybe at the end of the day that's what they were going for. But I don't know, it just didn't really pull me in, because like I've gone through the effects, definitely different mediums of like people, you know, doing juxtapose and like kind of hammering to death. So like when someone uses it, like it really needs to be done right, or it kind of loses its meaning. So that's kind of was my whole bit on that.
Okay.
My main note about it, like what I thought about it, was that I thought it was, so this one was like brighter and more, no pun intended, driving, right? It moved forward. And I liked it. I liked the breakdown. And then the scratchy guitar in it was like almost an idea. It was like a thing that they were definitely,
they didn't fully explore.
Yeah, it's another thing like the low horns on the other album. It's just a thing that could have been either more in the song or taken out. It was just kind of just seemed like almost an idea to me. But that's all I really have to say about that one.
Yeah, so I'll just move right into Girls Don't Cry. I thought it was interesting. It was sort of, it's like, it sort of paints this image of, to me, it felt like
It was an intermission.
It was an intermission, and it sort of came off as like this sort of weird image of girls that I think a lot of young people have, where like they get this like you get this really sort of like badass like exterior that is still pretty and everything's fine, but you never actually, like, you think that that's all there is to them almost, and that's like what you want. But then the song's about like but I actually know you're hurting. Like, we're going to peel back those layers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought that was cool, and the sentiment was really there in the music. It's one thing that comes off as a little bit dated because of, at least in the phrasing of the translation that we used, it talked about getting in behind defenses, right? Which is just kind of there are better ways to say that don't phrase it as like, you know, skirting around what the person doesn't want you to see. It just came across to me as this kind of almost dated notion of breaking down the like the Ice Queen's thing.
Oh yeah.
But didn't hurt my enjoyment.
60 years later, that's how we're still together. Your father wore me down.
Oh God. Not as intense as something like that, but still definitely
it's
like
in the same.
Sort of in that vein. Yeah.
Definitely like made in the year. The album was definitely made in the year that it was.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
Listen, Girls Don't Cry ain't shit compared to Please Mr. Lostman. Please Mr. Lostman is really great. Pretty sure it's from the perspective of a cat. And I'm all about it. It talks about his small hands. And, is that a cat? I don't know.
But yeah, anyway. Please Mr. Lostman.
Please Mr. Lostman.
I just thought it was funny because the intro of that is just like, I thought it was just like an old-time announcer just saying like, now in stereophonic sound. And that's what it got. But yeah, no, the melodies like just were bouncing. And it was just a very, very solid breakdown that reminded me of the artist Jeff Buckley, who was another huge... well, it's weird. So, like, if you were really, like, aware of music in the 90s, you would definitely know Jeff Buckley, like, hands down. Because, like, you know, it was the typical... He didn't die at 27, so he wasn't in the famed, like, 27 club, but he was just one of those artists that was just there for such a short amount of time, but made such amazing work. But if you bring it up to, you know, I guess our generation and maybe like newer generations, they're not that familiar with Jeff Buckley.
Couldn't agree more, considering I'm just learning about him now.
So, yeah.
Same boat.
No, I mean, I learned about him like 2 or 3 years ago.
I mean, like, chorus is killer. It's a good album closer, is what it is.
It really, really is. It's probably the best song of the album that should be like named after the album. Like it deserves that. It just feels right. It feels solidly within the aesthetic and the brand of the Pillows, especially going forward. To me, it really came off like it was about a cat who meets Mr. Lostman, and Mr. Lostman just adopts him, and they just go through and try to eat every day, essentially. Which I really liked. Because, like, yeah, one of the lines is, like, it starts out with, like, him, like, raising his, like, little head and hands or something, and I was like, well, why do you have a little head and little hands? I didn't understand, and then later, it's saying, like, to Mr. Lostman, like, I'm not a kitten, and it's like, well, of course you're not a kitten, you're a person, right? Oh, well, if you have small hands, then maybe you're actually a cat. And I was like, okay.
I definitely didn't put that one together.
Right. Well, because how would you? Like, who would do that? And it's like, oh, maybe you're actually a cat.
Maybe that, yeah. I should definitely give that a re-listen. You can join the pantheon of songs from the perspective of cats.
Yeah. Yep. But that's every track. I feel like that was fast, but I don't know.
No, maybe those might have been
normal,
but we'll find out. Yeah,
it's our fault. It's my fault for not knowing how far along we're in, but that's okay because we're going to talk about the top two and the bottom two.
So,
okay. I'll start. Yep, absolutely. Honestly, Stalker and Strange Chameleon. I really like Please Mr. Lostman, of course, but I think Strange Chameleon hits me a little bit harder in a similar way. But Stalker and Strange Chameleon, absolutely, they scream into the future. Like they're songs that I'll be listening to forever. Not every song. I can't say that about every song on the album,
For me, yeah, Stalker, and Today's She. Just because what really sold me was that great guitar solo that just transitioned back into the rest of the song. Like, when you hear a guitar solo that, like, just works so well in a song and actually, like, serves a purpose and just not like, oh, this is going to be the guitar showing off for, like, 30 to a minute. It actually serves the purpose of, like, it's going to be another bridge to these sections, or, like, it's going to pull aside the listener and then activate as a bridge to bring them back into the rest of the song. So, yeah, those are my top two.
My top one is Strange Chameleon. All the things that have been said about it, it was just really good. And I also really liked Swanky Street.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Just really, like, really hit me, like the guitar solo in it, like the kind of weird soundscape and the stutters, and the guitar is getting fuzzier and fuzzier. This song's an example of that. Just really dug it.
Nice.
And in terms of worst for this one, I'd probably have to say, like, all the ones that I consider, like, worse on this one are ones that, they're not ones that I think are, like, bad or abrasive in that way. It's just,
Right.
like, ways that they didn't leave a super impact on me. So probably Moon Is Mine and Girls Don't Cry were two that I was just like,
yeah,
I kind of forgot about them pretty much soon after I heard them. I bet you I wouldn't be able to really pick them out if you just played them and you didn't tell me the name.
Right. Yeah, honestly, I almost have the same bottom two as you. You know, it was a close tie, but I think where it comes off is that I actually had Suicide Driving on there too, only because it just felt sort of. It also gave me that feeling like it didn't leave that huge impression on me, whereas the song right before it, where I thought it should have been named Suicide Driving, was a little bit better. Swanky Street. It was just. It came after a song that hit me in a way that kind of it sort of conditioned me into not liking it as much. I think the way the track listing goes down really hurt it, but in the end, it's a really good album, and we get mostly better from here. I would say in general, we only go up, but there are some specifics that we'll find out about. And we're going to find out next time, too, because next episode is really special, I think, because we're doing Little Busters, the first album from '99, I believe, and really the first time we're seeing them get really, really popular. And yeah, we're gonna leave it until tomorrow. Hope everyone enjoyed. Anything else to say? Shem, what was your bottom two?
Yeah, so my bottom two were actually Strange Chameleon because of how, well produced and well performed it was. It didn't leave that big of an impact on me. But again, as I'm saying, my approach to these are just solely on the musical structure of it. So I'm doing this without processing the lyrics as well. I imagine if I was doing the full scope, it probably would have been a different story. But since I'm just doing it strictly at a music level, it was Strange Chameleon and Suicide Driving as well.
So, you're a plebe.
You know, you can roast me, you can skin me alive, but these are my thoughts.
No, I'm just kidding. I understand why, but Strange Chameleon's a banger. Find out in the comments. I don't know.